Yeah, if we could stand for the pledge, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Which one are we doing first?
Which committee? Finance would be Jason.
Well, why don't we do the sewer committee first? Because that's gonna, right, decide whether we're, sewer's gonna lead into finance, right?
Well, the finance has got to tell you where the budget's going before you can go into the
Okay.
sewer and say, hey, this is what we need.
Okay.
I need a blank copy or a copy of the minutes so I can write on it.
Do we have a sign-in sheet, or is anybody, I mean, you're really the only visitor.
Yeah.
And I find.
Any public comments?
No, so
Okay.
I was reading that, the rules of procedure for committee meetings are a bit different. We don't have to allow public comments at committee meetings.
Yes, you could if you want to.
You know, according to PA Title 8, no, I don't.
No, it's a public meeting, absolutely do.
Show me the statute, I just researched it tonight.
Let's let Jason drive the meeting, gentlemen. Jason is the chair of this
You showed up 4 minutes
committee.
late, you just shut up.
Jason is Jason's the
China.
committee chair, let him
And
drive.
the
They were having
committee
a
counts as
discussion.
an agency, so it's the same rules all the way
I
through.
think there's some difference because we can't take official action here.
No, because you can deliberate, which is official action.
You just can't make a motion.
We're not making decisions, Walt. We're going to
Walt
we're
and I
going to
are
write
having
some
conversations.
kind of recommendation to council at large, but we're not casting legislation at this meeting.
Yeah.
Now, if you do want to speak, that's up to Jason. But if he says, no, let's get on with the business because we've got things to do, that's up to him.
Well, it'd be up to the state law.
My personal opinion, if anyone is here, I don't mind if they speak. So you're the only one here, do you have anything to share?
How easy that was to resolve, gentlemen?
Perfect. All right, so I assume we start this with the general budget? All right, the anticipated revenues, you guys all have that in front of you. Are there any questions on anything for the general budget?
I mean, are you gonna go through line item, or are you just, I mean, because that's a tally,
Yeah, that's a tally. It's broken down into more.
right?
Some of you have copies of the detailed if you want to share.
For the sewer fund, right?
This is under the general fund.
Yeah, we don't,
Yeah.
do we have copies of the detail of the general fund or no? Yep, there it is.
So obviously the first one of these I done, do we have to go line by line?
It's up to you, it's your meeting.
I think
I know David's done everything important to do tomorrow, so we stay here until 1 in the morning.
About the time I get up, I'm just straight to work.
Stand the clock from desk today.
The one that was on there that I noticed that we had and we previously discussed was the snow and ice removal. Has there been any bids on that?
Yeah, bids are out. If you saw the paper today, the bids are out. I sent it to the streets committee to approve the language of it. It's on our website and it's out today. And it'll be out, I gave people till the 21st to get their bids into us.
Okay.
And then we'll take it to the streets committee to review the bids before we make an offer.
Okay. Are there any questions with the general fund?
Now, the bid for the snow, that comes, for the snow comes under the contract, not snow and removal. The snow and removal costs are our borough costs.
Our borough costs, okay.
So, because it's gonna be a contract, under the accounting, it comes under contracted services.
Okay.
Jason, I'm sorry, did you say you're gonna go through this by line item, or are you just asking in general?
Just asking in general if there are any questions. We can go line item.
No, we don't have to. The anticipated police budget, does that include second
Yes.
officer? Okay. So are we assuming they're gonna be non-union?
That's gonna have to be up to, the council to see whether we're gonna discuss with them to go over union or not.
Are we talking second full-time or 2 part-timers?
Well, I put into the budget, full-time, 40 hours at whatever the wage is, and I calculated social security and the benefits and everything for a
Okay.
full-time officer.
So if we went 2 part-timers, we could probably have a bit higher hourly rate for them.
Could have a higher hourly rate, but you wouldn't have benefits or anything like that.
But I guess the reason I bring this up is I know there's 2 candidates for part-time.
Brian has.
Brian has one, and then I know Popolo is still interested.
Okay.
It might also be better coverage. I believe we may be obligated for them to be unionized. We'd have to look at our previous agreement.
Not if we don't set a schedule for them.
Right.
We randomize the
And
schedule.
We'll have to look at that to
There-
find out what our limits are. But if 2 part-timers or 1 full-timer, both have great merits. I like 2 part-timers myself.
Either way, somebody's working weekend nights.
Right.
You know, that's,
You said randomize the schedule. Who is in charge of that schedule? Is that the chief?
So
the
right
chief
now, the
sets it,
chief,
and then the mayor finalizes it.
Okay.
Yeah. The police chief and the police department does not fall underneath the borough manager. It falls under the mayor.
Mayor, okay.
The only thing we do is offer support services for costs,
Gotcha.
things like that, look for grants,
Mhm.
you know, things like that. As far as their duties, we don't have a direct line of control over them.
Gotcha.
I know we briefly spoke about getting rid of that center turn workless loader that we have, and possibly, you know, utilizing that for a trade-in and getting the guys something that's a little bit more user-friendly for what they do, whether it be another backhoe or something along those lines. I'm just looking at the anticipated machinery and tool repair. I'm assuming that would fall under machinery or no?
Yeah, it would, but it would fall under all 3 budgets because it would be used for all 3 purposes.
Right.
Without getting a grant, we have 3 capital improvement funds that has enough money in there to purchase, a little from each one to purchase one.
Okay.
Nick got me an estimate on it. I would just wait until after we got rid of the budget so we could work on that. But yeah, there's money already in the, between the 3 capital improvement funds, sewer, water, and general, that we could take enough of each to buy it without depleting the other.
Yeah, okay. And the anticipated signs and markings, that's sign replacement, all that?
Correct.
Which is why that's high.
Yeah, because we're anticipating doing some work on the signs and putting reflectors. And we don't have any in reserve right now. We just lost a stop sign. We had to buy a pole and recalculate or reattach the old stop sign to it. And it's the one on High Street that had the do not enter on the back and the stop sign.
Yeah.
So I told them to buy a couple of backups for the barn so they can keep them there. So if something goes down, we can replace them rather quick than waiting.
I assume similar conversation for the continued discussion of the new police car.
Yeah, I have the thing, actually Brian and I have been discussing it off and on. I asked him to wait till after we get through the budget so I can look at grants. There's different grants out there. State Police just sent all their cars to auction and they came at a decent price. We probably could have got one at a decent price for the bid of the auction, but they would have had like 70,000 miles on them.
So that's a good note, because where I got my work vehicle, they come up with 23 and 24 Tahoes that are equipped already, 30, 40,000 miles on it for 30, 35 grand.
Yeah,
That might be something we might want to consider looking at.
you got to stay in touch with the general department down in the state general, because that's when they advertise them.
Well, those 2 places we can look online and see what they got, and they'll have it delivered here in 2 days. So I did with my work vehicle. I bought an old North Dakota Highway Patrol Tahoe.
Yeah. It's not a bad way to go.
As much as I need it.
mean, I'm personally good with it.
Yep, and everything else looks pretty good.
All go with the general? All right, then on to sewer.
There's one change on what you have under miscellaneous social security. On the back side of the extended sheet, I failed to put the social security in for the new hire.
Okay.
So that bumps it up to 10.9. Everything else was calculated into it. I just didn't, when I went rechecked all my numbers, I was like, I'm off. And that hire comes strictly out of sewer fund. It doesn't come out of the other two funds.
Okay.
And we're still showing a budget after that employment cost, or surplus.
On the sewer.
Yes.
Sorry, yep.
So one thing that I noticed when I was looking through these the other day, and I can't seem to find it right now, is the electric bill for water and sewer. Comes up to almost 70 grand a year between the two of them, if I remember right.
Closer to 80 when you were talking, yeah.
Closer to 80, I think.
Because you've got all the electric down on the sewer. Those only get divided amongst, like the sewer electric comes straight out of the sewer fund. The water comes out of the water, and then the other electric comes out of all three. So the sewer's gonna be higher because it's actually picking up more of all the others than that. So we just paid electric, and there's two that are running about 4,000 to 6,000, and the others are down like 22, 30, something like that. I'm still trying to get an answer on when we can replace our mercury vapor with LED, and hopefully that brings them down a little bit. But and that electric cost for the sewer plant is based on the fact that that's a lot of old equipment down there, and the dials and nodes and everything. So yeah.
So I had a thought, and I am by no means on the left side of the aisle when it comes to our government, so I'm not pushing anything, but solar to compensate $80,000 worth of electric a year. I don't know, I'm sure there's grants out there.
There's still some grants that are dwindling. Probably should have if you're looking at solar, trying to anticipate, because you can use solar just for the electric, say at the sewer plant.
I think that's what.
It doesn't have to go back into the grid. It just covers our costs.
Right, sewer and water.
Yeah.
At sewer too.
From what I understand, after doing some research, everybody, including myself, think that, solar can be quite challenging because of the cost of batteries, right? A lot of the times it's because the batteries are fully charged all the time, they don't get used,
right.
Which depletes the life of them. So if we were to utilize that on the front side and have electric as the backup, we might get a little bit more longevity out of the batteries if they're constantly being depleted.
Right. If you had them on a swing system where they're used, and then as they get depleted, you go to your backup system and they recharge.
Right.
That would get your life a lot longer. That's the big thing with any battery that is rechargeable.
My concern is the place with the most opportune southern exposure is up in the heights of the pump house, so it'd be great at pumping water to our water storage, and fresh water.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't help so much at our wastewater treatment. It would still be some, but it's just transferring electricity, there is quite a bit of loss.
Yeah, I was thinking how the layout would be down there.
Perhaps
They
just
would
the pump
probably run the
houses
tops
are
of
a
the
good pilot for an
fences.
engineer. Perhaps just the pump houses are a good pilot for our engineer to look at.
Yeah.
Well, and they have, I've seen them quite frequently on these farms now where the solar panels actually follow the sun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's some.
So, I know they're a bit more spendy, but you know, how long would it take at $45,000 a year for an electric bill for that thing to pay for itself?
Pay for itself, right?
So I'll have to let them do all the math on that.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I get it. It's just something I came up with when I saw those high ass numbers.
Yeah, I looked at solar at my house, and it was gonna take like 30 years to recoup my investment, because we don't have that demand.
Right.
And I wasn't gonna put that many, the place across the street just put solar on.
All that.
And I'd be curious to go talk to them to find out their rationale and what their numbers were.
They probably got boozled into the free solar.
Mhm.
The state will pay you to put it on. And then they,
For that matter, we could put windmills down at the sewer plant.
Yes, that's in the valley, that may not be as good as we think.
We could put them water things in the creek, right?
Well, we're always pushing water out, we just put one right there where the flow
Right there
goes
at the
out.
absolute, yeah.
Like the old mill,
Yeah.
grist mill type thing.
Start grinding up some flour.
One of the most famous campsites in Lancaster is an old dog feed grinding mill. I used to stay there all the time.
The difference for this year, if you look at, just trying to explain the negative in the sewer, was the grit down at the sewer plant. That was $9,500 and some $1,000. So if you throw that in, that was an added thing that was not budgeted for. That came out of the DEP requirement. And on the sewer side of it, I carried the $30,000 a year for our loan that we repaid, but I also put in the loan that we took. So it's kind of a wash. When I talk to the accountants, they're like, you don't have to put it in because it's a wash. I'm like, no, I want everybody to see where we're at. And so that's why it kind of looks a little bit higher at times.
Do we currently have any businesses or organizations that flush to our facility that are getting charged a super user fee?
No, none that I'm aware of.
So everybody's on a meter?
Everybody's on the meter except for
Township?
the township pays a rate based on their water flow. We have a meter on that.
yeah,
They give us the readings. We don't check them. They give
I
us the
think
readings.
we ought to change that.
Hospital, they have a weekly flush of their firearm or their fire suppression system.
That's an estimate.
And that's an estimate, that's not on a meter. And I talked to Steve about that. It's a 6-inch pipe, and to buy a 6-inch meter reader is pretty expensive, but they give us an estimate. And I just wanna talk to their fire suppression people to see, because that's like 18 to 20,000 gallons of water that they put on an estimate, and I wanna see how they come with their original.
That's how much they flush a week.
That's the number that they're giving me, because they're doing a whole suppression system.
So, I don't know, this is my thought. We, start charging them $50,000 a month plus the meter fees.
Well, let's look at water costs. So if they're doing 20, 40, 60, 80, let me do the math. 80,000 gallons, divide that by,
They're putting back in what they're flushing, so they're paying the water on that. But, you know, it's one of the furthest locations from our facility, so it's doing potentially the most damage to what's in place now.
right.
Plus, it's overworking the system. I mean, that 80,000 gallons or 20,000 gallons a week, how many residents does it take to put 20,000 gallons down that line a week?
Well, you figure, I'm not on that line, but my house only uses 33, 40
Yeah.
a month.
Mm.
So a week, you divide that by 4, I'm lucky to do, what, 600?
800?
Yeah, 600 gallons, 7, 8, yeah.
So-
800 gallons.
customers?
Yeah.
But to compound that whole situation up there is the previous manager entered into an agreement where we are responsible for the maintenance of the line that crosses the highway, or crosses Route 6 up to their facility. We took that over for some reason. And I'll bet you and I talked about it, I'll bet you that line's 100 foot deep. Cause it's gotta go down, under 6 and underneath that valley and back up to the heights. I have no idea why he agreed to take that on. We don't have the equipment.
Well, wasn't that put to council for a bid, for a vote?
That was way before.
Yeah, way before any of us, even if it was, but when we talked to Steve, he says, well, yeah, no, he showed up one day, says, by the way, you're gonna need these fittings, because we're responsible for that line now, as of today,
And that's water.
and that's
Right.
water.
That's water.
So that was HDD guaranteed at the creek, and I know this because I do profiles for us, but at the creek, it's a 6 foot minimum cover, but when you do an HDD to avoid frac outs, you go at least 45 feet. So more than likely from where they were at, they probably drilled from that side and went extremely deep to get under the stream to get their profile to come back up to where the hospital sits. So you're not replacing it unless you HDD that pipe.
Yeah.
Like you're not digging it. You can't get illegal. I mean,
You'd
you'd
be
pay
$1 million
They ran
just
that
in
line
equipment,
from
just
the
in
creek
equipment.
side, from the valley
I
side.
got 2 guys in water, they can't dig by hand that deep.
Well, even just to mow equipment in and off, I mean, you're talking, Jesus, the benches and setbacks to dig that deep you'd be removing soil for weeks before you got to it.
Yeah.
It's just
And you
asinine
have to find a
agreement.
place to store it, because you're gonna put it back when you're done
Yeah.
fixing it.
Just an asinine agreement.
So you said he entered into a contract. Do we know the terms of the contract?
By the sound, we'd have to talk to Steve or Nick,
I
but
gotta talk to, I have not seen, and that's why I found the minutes, because I'm looking at the minutes, trying to see what's been through the minutes. Because I'm trying to find out who our street lamp people are. And, in the minutes, I'm just hit or miss on certain minutes, and I haven't seen anything yet. I'll have to go back to the year that the hospital went in.
there breaks under the creek usually.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see what the contract is and how long we're in the contract for, and just see what the guidelines or terms of it,
Yeah.
because if that's the case,
by the sounds of the conversation, it was in perpetuity.
A former council might have a copy of that he ought to transfer to present, borough management.
And I can reach out to some former council that,
I mean, if it ever needs redone, I know a guy, but he ain't gonna be cheap.
Right.
well, the hospital should have a copy of that too then, right? So if we have to.
Well, I
we
wouldn't
should be able
necessarily
to-
take their word on it, but yes, they would have one, but I wouldn't necessarily take their word on it,
Yeah.
because they're the people we're trying to screw over here.
Well,
And the basicness of it, we're trying to say, well, we had agreement, let's change it now, we're gonna pay us a lot
Hold
more.
it, we're not trying to screw anybody over, we're just trying to get what's deserved to the
Yes,
borough.
we wanna get what's fair, that's right, and
Okay.
raising their price, they may disagree and say, no, we had what was fair.
trust
So
me.
I would not
Watch your terms,
necessarily,
please.
I would not necessarily go with only what they say, we wanna look at our own.
Oh, I'm not
If-
asking what they say, I'm asking if there's a contract in place that would be a legally binding
right,
contract.
we need to review it.
We need to
We
review that,
need to
and
review it.
if they can help and give us the contract, I don't care what they have to say.
All
about it.
contracts should be reviewed after a couple of years.
Our previous council may have a copy,
Normal
you can
process.
provide it to borough management, and then we should be good, and we could share that with our current council. And hopefully we'll have some better guidance on this.
Good. So moving on to my next bullet, same thing with Martha Lloyd. They use a lot of water.
They use a lot of water. Their bill's pretty high. Their bill is pretty high. Theirs is, the only hand reads, or the only estimate reads we get are from the school and from the water.
Why are we getting estimate reads from the
Well, they
school?
read their own meters, I'm not estimates, they read their own meters and send us to
We
them.
need to get away from that.
Martha Lloyd does?
No, theirs is an actual read. that we get.
And I guess my reasoning behind saying that is, I don't get to read my electric meter and tell Penelec what I'm using.
You don't read
Why
the water
why should
meter
we
either.
accept their reading to us?
All our
Previous
institutional
practice.
customers.
No, I
we should
know.
be reading. Especially our institutional customers, we should be doing our readings. They use, Martha Lloyd uses a lot more water than any one of our houses. And none of our administration won't accept my reading of the meter.
It's just another one that needs to get looked into.
And I would include the school into that conversation at all,
Well, anybody who reads their own meter and tells us what they're gonna pay.
Yeah,
as well as the township.
Sounds like an echo of the very last conversation.
So school, hospital, township, that's what I had.
Martha Lloyd.
Martha Lloyd.
Okay.
Barefoot down at
Oak Hill's no longer, so we don't worry about them. They're paid up. They were clear last month, so.
But
They pay all their fines?
Drive, we ought to look at too, they're one of our customers, and they shouldn't be reading theirs.
Nobody should be reading their own meter.
No, especially our institutional customers.
Right. Is Oak Hill caught up on the, wash water overages?
Yes.
Okay.
What about, control flow up on the hill? I know they don't have a whole lot of employees, but I also know what kind of chemicals they play with.
Force flow.
Yeah, force flow.
Yeah, I was thinking control flow, but I knew what you were talking
my
about.
way.
Yeah, play better in drive.
But, I
Wait,
mean,
when-
I don't know, I'm not saying they would do anything malicious up there, but if they did, it's a direct effect to us.
Mhm.
And again, I don't know how many employees they have, probably a dozen or more, but, somebody might want to look into that as well. I mean, maybe not a super user fee, but just I don't know if we could put a catch basket somewhere in the system. I know that sounds ridiculous, but just to see what's coming.
Let me get the readings that we've got, what we currently have for all of them, and then the sewer committee can look at it. We'll have another meeting, they can look at it and just decide at what level of super user fee needs to come in at.
Perhaps just a simple audit will answer all that.
So.
I'm just worried about the strain on the system, you know.
Well, that's always, that's a concern that I talked with Nick about that today, about for Thursday night's meeting coming, having the information, because I know I told him he's gonna get asked these questions.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to know how this is stressing our system out. Especially with Steve being out. We're down a person.
And we still have winter.
Yeah, we still got winter.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing one of the things that impacts our system, believe it or not, is precipitation. Snow, rain, stuff like that.
Yeah. Every leak we have.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only that, but as we all talked to Steve that night, with a good portion of the businesses in town's eave systems, storm drain systems going into our sewer system, that's added strain.
I got one more complaint.
Let's hear it.
Do you happen to know how many gallons a day we're losing?
No, that's what Nick and I were talking about today, is coming up how many we're losing. You'll get that.
Because that's another, it's a pump, water pumps, well pumps, constantly running.
Electric.
And we're shoving it in the creek.
And these are
After we're paying the
all
tribute.
things that we need to get remedied once we get our feasibility study, so we can create our 10-year plan on replacing the whole system. Right now, it's all maintenance and trying to be preventive in nature on an aging system.
Yeah. It's hard to be proactive on something this old.
Yeah. But those are all good questions that everybody needs to be updated on. Because it'll give you a sense of urgency on why I keep pushing for trying to get these grants so we can get stuff done.
So maybe not gallons, percentage-wise of what we go through. Do you have any idea percentage-wise what we're losing?
The last time I talked to Steve before he went out, $30 to 40%.
That's a lot of electric.
That's a lot of freaking chemicals.
Yeah, that's chloramine, electric, that's water, yeah. And this is after we've plugged some serious leaks too.
Yeah. And we plug them as fast as, we find them.
Right.
The guys are good about it.
But you can only have so many Band-Aids on them.
Right.
I just wonder if it wouldn't be worth our time to actually look for, I don't care if the guy's from California. Somebody that's not somebody's buddy or doesn't live right here next door to come in and investigate our system to see where the leaks are at. There's people out there that can do it.
Mm-hmm.
We just haven't hired the right guy yet.
I can check with our engineers to see who they would be dealing with.
This leak down here wasn't even found by a company we paid $27,000 for.
Yeah.
And it was blowing out the freaking wall right behind damn apartments.
Yep. Reynolds
Come on.
Apartments, yeah.
And we had 3 companies in here looking for them,
Yeah.
remember?
But you're saying they were all local companies?
Well, I don't know exactly where they were from, but I know the guy that sat in his seat did not do much research whatsoever. And the first thing that popped up on Google search is what was here. Well, it may not even been Google. I don't know if he was that antiquated, but I just think that we need to look, and like I said, I would not have a problem paying somebody's plane ticket and hotel bill for a month to come in here, because what we're gonna save in electric, chemicals, water loss, pump wear down, the whole 9 yards.
Well, look at it in this fashion when you start talking about the consequences of finding leaks. You pay money up front for the individual to come in, so there's an expense.
Mhm.
Now you start digging, you start fixing, there's an additional expense there. So your money that you're planning on saving is gonna be years down the line, not necessarily now. But we've got to look at, that's where we'd have to look at like a Penvest loan or something to start us off with capital.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we would probably deplete our reserves.
Right.
in
I
something
just
like
think,
that.
you know, I fully 100% am behind the 10-year plan, 100%. But how many pumps are we gonna go through? How many thousands of dollars of electric? It seems like chemicals go up every 6 months. Like, you know, there's gotta be an offset point there somewhere.
Well, Thursday, you're getting in your packet, you're gonna have a letter from Pace saying they're going up
Again?
5 to 8%, I think it was.
But also, if we had the information, that would probably help you with the grants, applying for them, because we have more,
Leverage.
yes. You know, this is where we're at. We've done the research, we've gotten the information when we're doing the applications. So then, if we get the grants, that helps offset that.
Right.
So, it's kind of a.
And the thing about that is, I had to start somewhere. But it doesn't mean that we have to wait in a linear fashion to do things.
No.
We can start putting grants in to fix things now. The feasibility study, for all intents and purposes, is a year and a half out, maybe 2 years out. But in that time, we can try to get grants to fix the existing equipment we have.
Right.
We may not be digging up and putting new sewer lines in, but we could be looking for leaks and putting new equipment in as we dig them up, that type of thing.
And we could, I mean, talk to the engineers and, you know, if it's a 50-foot section, so we put in what the engineers think that the new water lines would be within that 10-year.
Oh, we'd be already getting ready to replace them again.
Right, I mean, yeah, you're right.
You know, I don't know, I mean, not everything has the length that the lifetime that we've been using them as, but yeah, it would be nice. We've looked at, I looked at different companies about sliding piping into existing piping.
Mhm.
But again, that doesn't guarantee, now you're reducing again, things like that. So either one of two things happens, either your force goes up, your pressure goes up, and now you got the same amount of water going through a smaller hole, or you're gonna blow something out because you've actually found a spot that's leaking and you're putting pressure on it by putting a pipe through it.
Right.
So, I mean, which wouldn't be a bad idea, but, you know, we've got to plan it because we got to be more proactive instead of reactive. And I think we've been reactive for the last umpteen years, waiting for things to happen instead of trying to avoid them happening by being proactive.
Correct.
I don't see anything else on the sewer department budget. You guys?
I was just curious, do we have a sinking fund dedicated to the grit and sand replacements? I know we don't do that all the time, but that comes up. And as Davis said, the prices seem to increase every time we do it. Do we have a sinking fund dedicated to saving for that, or should we consider one, if not?
We have a sinking fund that we get $11.88 from everybody every month on. That's where the grit loan's coming from. Right now, we have a sewer capital improvement fund. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but there's a decent amount of money in there. And that is where the improvement funds are, where we're putting our royalties at from, that come in from Repsol and places like that. And I gotta look at the formula that they were using before, but we do have funds.
Okay.
we have some, I mean, we got like 19 accounts, but yeah, we've got funds.
I know, I recently signed all of them.
Yeah, and, so there is some funding there.
All right, thanks, Ron. I'm satisfied.
Okay. On to water.
Oh, yeah. The evil one.
Save the best for last. So obviously the thing that sticks out like a sore thumb is we're operating at a deficit in water. We discussed this at our meeting last week. You got it, Becker?
Yeah. Just about fell asleep. Just woke up.
That's it.
I'm sitting.
Your voice is so soothing.
So some of the things that have impacted all the departments is, as one councilman said, we've had a percentage, inflation hits us 3 to 5%. Our insurances for all the buildings and workers' comp went up 3.5. We were able to keep it under the 5, which has been the norm, it seems. And those things have not been addressed overall. We have not looked at trying to recoup it from our customers or anything yet. But when we hire new people, the insurance goes up on them as well.
So basically costs have been going up, but we haven't been asking for more.
The last time I seen anything, and it was brought to my attention, was 2024. I think we raised, I don't know if it was water or sewer, but we raised them up effective the beginning of the 2025 year. But I haven't seen anything in the minutes for the last couple of years where we've raised general government millage or anything. I think the only thing that we really touched over the last few years has been
Water and sewer.
water and sewer. Our millage is good. For what we're doing for the general government, for the public, for just keeping the town going, we're good there. It's our water and sewer that we need to get more in line with our customer usage and anticipated needs for the future.
Gotcha.
So at your previous meeting, it was suggested a 7.5% increase to water, which currently we're at 1053 per thousand. But that is still leaving us with a $30-some thousand deficit. And in conversation, if we took it to 15%, it would wipe that deficit out, which would take it from $10.59 per 1,000 gallons to $12.11. That's on average of what we figure out, about $4.50-some cents a month.
So here, I took your suggestions and I created a whiteboard
Yes.
with using my bill so you could see how the impact of
The camera,
an impact of an increase in water would impact your number one customer in town, which is my family.
Oh boy.
All right, so the surcharge is going to stay the same. Where am I at here on the surcharge? Surcharge is going to
Middle
stay the
right
same,
column.
1188. All right, that doesn't change. My current bill, my family used 3340, which comes out to $93.08. All right. If we adjust just the water, 15%, my current water bill is $35.17 based on 3340 at the 1053 per thousand rate. If we raise it up 15%, it only goes up $5.27. So it raises my total bill to $98,035. So for one person, it doesn't seem like it's that extensive when you start multiplying it by almost 600 residents a month over a 12-month period.
plus the commercial property.
Plus the commercial properties, it would take care of the deficit that we have. I'm not gonna say we're gonna be putting 20, 30,000 in the bank afterwards, but it would make it so that the water is actually paying for itself. And if you look at the Excel spreadsheet, water has not come in the black in the last, I think 3 years.
3 or 4 years.
And that was my thought behind this. Like, I just don't, for such in a grand scheme of things, I feel that's a minimal increase in the average bill to allow us to wipe out that deficit, where we don't have to worry about that on our plate.
Yeah, if you look at, we were talking earlier before the meeting, that if you look at some of the other towns and what they charge for water.
Right.
And they have, Mansfield has a different watering system. They start at $22 per thousand, and then your second thousand drops down to $7.
Oh,
So they hit you up front with the first thousand. I have Wellsboro's in there as well, because for some reason people want to compare us to Mansfield and Wellsboro. So they are definitely higher than what we do. Now, you look at their population, Mansfield, I think, is over 5,000 population. Wellsboro is definitely more than that. They have a resident population that, in charging those rates, they can afford to keep their sewer system and their water system, proactively updated. And I don't know how many personnel they have or anything like that. I didn't get that far into my research. But in the comparison, we are definitely cheaper than them. We're cheaper than.
We're even on the cheaper end of most of the municipalities.
In Bradford County.
In Bradford
Yes.
County.
You look at, we were talking about Canton.
Yeah.
Canton's a lot higher than we are.
Canton's higher than ours, the Valley's, exponentially higher than ours, Tawanda's higher than ours.
the regressive rate might make a lot of sense. I'm curious if this was combined with re-examining our rates for the institutional customers. We could get things shored up to the part where we have funds to do some serious remediation on this water system.
To go along with that thought, Mansfield does have a separate commercial rate for water for uses by commercial properties.
Yeah, it's not uncommon.
I would have to check with Wellsboro. I don't know if Canton does that or not.
It's not uncommon, but yeah, Vex Club or Troy Lunch, they would have a different rate than me, for example. It's not
Right.
uncommon.
And we don't
Company
have,
does it.
you look at the businesses in town, the problem is we don't have a lot. There's not a lot of you look at Building 9, they have no competition. Minis, no competition. So, we don't have a lot of businesses to per se to expect to pay more because we don't have as many
Right,
businesses.
and a lot of our businesses in town would probably look at their usage. Let's take, a couple of the financial planning companies, their usage is probably minimal.
It's just individuals.
They're just
people
hand
that-
washing and flushing toilets, that's it.
What did we figure that came out per gallon? 0.01?
It's 0.01 or 0.01211 or something.
Per gallon.
0.01271. I think I was gonna pull that up again.
Per gallon. I just
Per
wanted
gallon.
that on record.
Yeah, per gallon. It's not a drastic, and it's still lower than, in comparison to, other municipalities in the county. If we looked at it and wanted to say, hey, we want to be like so-and-so and raise our rates like that,
Right.
like theirs, you could come, we could always come back and say, we wanted to be like them, we're gonna be like them.
Yeah.
But we're not. We're trying to look out for our customers in the best fashion that we can.
And I guess that's not, I don't want to necessarily say it would be a hiccup on the commercials or set aside commercial fee or separate commercial fee, but I'm thinking about those smaller,
Right.
the
Well-
Troy Diner or whatever it's called, the
Yeah, you got the Troy Diner. I mean, you go
Radical
up,
printers,
you go
stuff
up
like
and
that.
down Canton, just go up Canton Street. They're all
Yeah.
pretty much mom and pop type businesses.
So I think it would take some,
Even McDonald's probably doesn't use as much as we would anticipate for a commercial property because people are in and out there. It's
Yeah.
not like they're sitting there for all day.
yeah, but they probably use a lot of water with soda mixes, coffee, iced tea.
Yeah, the soda fountain uses water, they gotta
Yeah.
wash dishes too, but
Yeah,
it's just,
sewer wise, probably not as much because people are taking it with
Yeah.
them.
yeah, they're taking it home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons, if I remember right, Mansfield did that upfront price was because of the college
Mhm.
and the way things run over there. They kind of built that $22 for the first because of the way the college schedule runs. That way, they know they have kids are going to be here right now, but they might not be here next month. So they're going to pay the upfront.
Right.
That way, when they walk out at the end of the semester, they're getting their money.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that was a big play in that, if I remember right.
So when people say they want to compare us to other towns, we could have had the university here. The forefathers were like, no, we don't want it here. And that's why I went to Mansfield, because we've got 6 and 14, and it ended up going 6 and 15. But when you have a big facility like the college, it comes with different headaches, it comes with different issues that from a local government standpoint, you may not be prepared for. So always be careful what you wish for.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, they can keep the college, I know.
So, we're proposing instead of a 7.5, we do 15.
That's my thought. I mean, that's just something I threw out there. I think we'd probably be better served by going into the new year with a balanced budget and not carrying over a deficit.
7.5 or
I
8%
agree.
only addressed part of that deficit. We looked at, we had roughly a little less than 17,000 to play with. And the 7.5 only would address like 7 or 8,000 of
Yeah.
that. So I agree with John, we need to enter this with a balance on that. We're not really at liberty to run a deficit anyway. The Commonwealth will take our hut.
And your deficit's only gonna grow year after year. I mean, if you don't start somewhere.
Well, just look in your last 3 years. Underwater.
But then the next question was, if we did apply,
8%?
say an 8%, it changed that to 8%, that would then take money away from the sewer down to now they would not have a surplus. If we increase that, we're gonna have a balance on the freshwater, but I think we may end up with a deficit on the sewer charges.
There's always a consequence. You're right, there's always a consequence, but now we're putting the cost. But each department, the general, the water, and the sewer, has to be functional on their own. We can't pull money from the sewer to pay for water bills. That's why they each have their own money market, right? That goes in that we have to pull back from them.
Do we need to consider not just an increase on the portion of the bill that goes to fresh water, but also the entire bill itself?
I would be cautious. I'm content with going with the 15% on the water, and then let's see what happens this year. Now that we're mindful of, we've got other things in play that we're trying to get done. We're trying to get the grants to help with, and once we get grants, we're not gonna be hopefully using all of our funds up.
If we look at 2026 with a balanced budget, we look at the topics of, the people who are telling us what they're gonna pay, we go through this mindfully, it will result, hopefully, less money the taxpayer will end up paying.
Certainly hope so.
So I don't think we should overdo it. I think we should balance budget.
Well, this is usage fees here, not taxpayer.
Yeah, this is,
But
you can
yeah,
almost
I
call this a
understand.
commodity fee.
If we also want to pursue investigation on our institutional customers, the high school, Martha Lloyd Hospital, et cetera, what kind of timeline are we looking at to get any kind of solid answers on how much they're actually using and what deals that were made in the past?
The problem is the deals in the past, because if there's no record of them, then we're starting fresh and it's gonna have to sit down to negotiations.
And I would suggest a minimum of, before we even, just to get a baseline, a 2 to 3 month of our guys reading each meter before we ever entered into any negotiations on a contract.
This could easily
But
be
again,
6 months.
if there's nobody can provide anything in paper, then it didn't happen.
Yeah,
And I both know
That's
that,
exactly what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
you know.
Right now, you go back to the old state mentality.
Yeah.
If it ain't
If it
written
ain't
down, you ain't
documented,
got
it
proof
didn't
it didn't happen.
If a contract was signed, somebody's got a copy to somebody that we can trust.
Rod, this 8,200 you have for purification in the water department, does that include the 8% increase I just noticed?
No,
So our deficit was gonna go.
I just got that letter, like, after I'd already worked on that,
So it's gonna go from 33,000 basically up to 33,700, because 8% of 8,200
Right.
is right around 700. So it's just gonna keep gaining.
Right.
I mean, we've gotta do.
And that's only one of the entities that we deal with that's going on.
Correct.
You figure the insurance went up already 3.5%, that's going up 5 to 8%. And equipment, everything, I don't care what program the government puts into place, inflation is not gonna, what happens, when stuff goes up, people don't lower it back down because it's cost effective. They
It's
keep
not a
it
ratchet.
where it is so they can get rich.
electric's gonna go up, parts for pumps, all that.
Yeah.
I mean, this deficit's might be good for 2026, 2027, we might be right back in a $10,000 deficit.
So should we think about going up above the 15 to give us a cushion?
I mean, if 15 we think is relatively close to our break-even point, I mean, I'm just throwing darts at the board here. I mean, why not end up with a little bit?
Well, some of the things
If we're going to look at our
that
institutional customers, we may not need to jump on that increase just yet.
you need to consider is everything that I figured was on the high end.
Okay.
All right, everything I figured was on the high end. The new borough manager salary, I figured it on the high end.
So you're not gonna hit us for a raise?
You gotta leave as soon as you can.
You know, I don't get that inclination because there's a whole lot of conversation about we and the future plan and not separating you.
I'm always a team player, whether I'm on the team or not.
It's a great line.
You gotta look at possibilities. You know, we're looking outside our area, in order to attract a qualified person, you're looking at giving them a salary that's comparable in comparison to others. And we had selected on the, committee a certain range, and I just figured out the, budget based on the high end of it. If it comes down lower, then we've already got an automatic savings, not only in the salary, but in social security and, you know, a couple other things.
But the other side of that is, we might have a perfect candidate right here that wants 5 to 10 grand more a year, and I, for one, am gonna vote for him. So that salary cap that's there, you might not be able to negotiate on your own, but if you present it to council, if this guy is worth
Right.
gold, then we may have to increase the actual cap.
Right.
So, you know, that could go either direction. And I mean, I've seen it more than once where somebody from New York City just wants to get the hell out of New York City.
Right.
And they've been doing this their whole freaking life. It might be the best thing that ever happened to us, you know? But I personally feel like if we don't have, you know, if we're not in the green, $10,000 to $15,000 at the end of the year, we have no cushion. I mean, we're basically,
Breaking even.
we're breaking even, and we're putting our lives on grants and loans
Right.
at that point. And I would rather start
High.
having a positive at the end of every year.
Right.
I mean, even if it ends up being more because we can't find anybody other than a local schmo to come in here and be a manager, you know, and he takes the low end salary, well, so be it. If
Well, I'll
we-
keep you happy. I'll go for a higher end. How's that?
There you go.
I mean, if we end up with $30,000 in the bank at the end of the year versus $10,000, good for us.
Right.
You know, I just, 15 to me is effective.
What would the numbers be at 20, what would the cost be per thousand and per gallon at 20% increase over what it is current?
20%. $2.10, $2.11
So take it
water. 10 to
14, 30.
So on average, my family of 7, the water bill would go up approximately about $6 a month.
$12.64 a gallon or per
Give or take.
thousand.
And that's on a family of 7, so figuring out high user, you know.
Or if we got rid of the online pay, that would save everybody 6 something a month.
Mine would go up, just almost exactly $6.50 if we went 20%.
I mean, I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. That's
I'm on a fixed income, gentlemen.
that. Obviously, my
You
worry.
just included it in the budget.
Look, I'm worried about every,
Right.
every elderly lady that's on Social Security. I'm absolutely worried.
Right.
But it's not gonna do us any good, to, how do I wanna word this without sounding like a complete asshole? We've gotta worry about this too.
Right. Yeah.
We
Well, if you
to-
have a major break without the funds, now you're gonna be charging more
That'll be
later
on
to
credit.
cover the loan.
Let's take that HDE line at Guthrie. If that goes, we're easily eating $1 million in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is, it
And
runs
that's
from the
probably
valley
just-
up the hill.
That's probably just opening the line.
It's gonna cost you 250 grand just to mow our equipment.
Yeah.
Or anybody's.
Yeah.
I think I would agree. I agree, and I think it's a good idea, and I think we should do it. Only for the simple fact that we've stated multiple times that we've been reactionary, not proactive.
Right.
I think that has to stop.
And
We
if-
have to
if
be more
it's-
proactive.
My suggestion would be as only on the water.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Not an across.
Sewers-
No, not
Yeah,
across the
yeah.
board, only on the water.
And then we still go after these
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
entities to see
Yeah,
what we
we'll
can
look
do to
at the
get that
other
rectified.
entities. We can start doing that.
Inaccurate readings.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got some big customers that we ought to audit.
And to go with that, that's one of the problems that we have. We don't have major companies around us
Yeah.
that we can fall back on as far as we know we're gonna make money because they have 50, 100, 200 some employees. We don't have that. But that was the choice that this town made 100 and some years ago. To keep on, and that's one of the drawbacks, it's one of the drawings from this, that it is a small community, that it is. So we'll do the best we can with what we have.
And I definitely don't want to gouge these entities that are out there. You know, the Guthrie's worth trillions of dollars. You go to them and say, hey, you're going to pay a $50,000 or $20,000 user fee or whatever up front. They have the money to close the place down and build another one outside the borough. You know what I mean? Like, just to be, and there's some arrogant people that work there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, I could see some, so it has to be reasonable.
Well, they're already outside the borough and they came to us because they wanted the water.
Right.
So
Well, that's the thing.
they do
So,
understand that
I
they
get
need
your
a
point,
system.
and I 100% agree with what they can do that, but how much money, because they're not gonna wanna tie in try to do it on a solar or a single well system.
Drilling a well is not a cheap operation either.
Well, it wouldn't even be feasible for that much usage, right? So they're gonna, so let's say they decide to move, well, we're gonna close up and we're gonna move to Alba, all right? They're still gonna have to build a pipeline to,
Well,
or con the residents over there to pay
but
for it.
we supply an entire town of people plus a hospital with 2 measly little wells we have up there. Trust me, they could put wells in for under 100 grand that would support that hospital. I'd almost guarantee it. Sewer,
Don't give them any ideas.
what's that?
Don't give them any ideas.
But sewer, on the other hand, is always gonna be an issue. You know what I mean? That's one hell of a leach field. But again, money can get you lots of things, even though you're not supposed to use the tanks anymore. I know people that still do it. You know, holding tanks and.
I think it comes down to the relationship and how we discuss it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I said, I think it needs to be a fair representation of, hey, we've been eating this long enough.
Yeah, let's gather all the facts before we
Absolutely.
sit down with them and say,
Right.
we want this, or.
There's a lot of snowballing here tonight, right? And numbers probably that we're tossing out probably really aren't realistic.
Well, you said it last, measure for 2 or 3 months and see where we stand.
Yeah.
If one of you hits that 1 billion, you just donate it to the borough. What's that?
I'm gonna buy the borough, fill in all 3 ends, and let the water cistern just pump.
I know I like you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why are we paying CDL fees? We don't have a CDL vehicle.
No, we don't. But for some reason, we have guys that with CDL licenses that were being reimbursed their CDL.
And we are operating no piece of equipment that requires a commercial driver's license.
No, you're right.
Now, I get it, it's minuscule, it's $260 a year. I just was looking for an answer for that.
Why do we pay that much? I pay 120 at Renzi's.
This is for 2 to 3 people.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, 2, 3 people.
Plus, we're probably paying for every 4 years. I'll bet you if we go through and look at that budget, I bet you we're paying for, this is for physical, but I bet you every 4 years we're paying for a license too. And I just,
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to check on that. I'm just going by what the budget was. And I know that, like certificates, we pay Steve certificates.
No, and that makes sense because he's using it on the job. Now, I'm not gonna say that we need to remove this because Steve and I actually had a very in-depth conversation about our trucking costs with the sludge.
Mm-hmm.
And we did some off-the-cuff figuring that it may actually be cheaper for us to purchase a tanker and truck it ourselves.
Haul it out.
I wanna say we were paying what, $1,200 to $2,000 or something per load? And
12, just paid it like last month, 12.7, something like
Per
that.
load.
Per load.
Yeah, so, and we were only getting out because of the budget that we had, we were only moving a very minimal amount, where when him and I discussed cost of truck, et cetera, we could actually, for roughly the same budget, move, I think, 3 to 4 times more and get almost 80% of the sludge out every
Well,
day.
originally it was, when that system was discussed, because I did read that in the minutes, it was supposed to be removed once a year, and now we're up to,
Yeah.
probably, we could probably do it 4 times a year, just to keep the pressure
But
off.
that's
the
not
system.
one load 4 times. It's, I think he's trying to take, when he does it, I think he said he's doing, and he's constrained by the budget of 3 to 4 loads per week, where he has more that really should go.
Right,
Because
we don't empty it all the
yeah,
way
and
down.
again, by not emptying it out and getting as much as we should be, we're causing additional wear and tear on the system.
Just like the one tank has, even though we got a grit in it, there's probably a foot of grit in that tank that we need to shut that tank down and pay somebody to come in to dig it all out. Because that puts a lot of wear and tear, a lot of stress and drag on the turn arm. But Steve went off before we could figure out what a cost would be to do that. Because that's proactive thinking versus reactive, waiting for the freaking arm to break.
Yeah, no, and maybe this is a conversation we have after Steve gets back after the new year and say, hey, let's look into price maintenance.
It's too big a conversation for this meeting, but if we already have people that are CDL qualified.
That's the minimum, that's the minor problem. You're looking at,
Right.
I mean, we can probably, you're gonna look at, let's say 100 to 120 grand for a used tanker if we go with a straight truck. You're gonna probably put another 25 a year for maintenance. Well, maybe not because it's not being used so much, but none of that stuff, when you start adding commercial vehicle parts, none of that is cheap, is it?
No, you just look at the police car.
Oh, yeah.
We're always putting something on that police
Yeah,
car,
yeah.
mechanic wise.
It's time for.
Yeah, and I got one guy driving it.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's not putting Stady miles on it in a week. He's,
Yeah.
if he's putting 200-300 miles on it in a week, he's driving too much. But yeah, we're not, it's always getting fixed.
Well,
Where
let's
does
face
this waste have to go?
it goes to
For what, the waste?
the sludge.
It's sludge.
Sludge, that is.
Doylestown?
Trying to think the company that takes it.
It's a special place though.
Yeah,
The human manure is not yet a good thing.
But, and this was the other part of the conversation, I'm pretty sure Steve said if we had our own truck, Tawana could take it. We could sell it to Tawana.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So, there again, we're cutting our trucking costs incrementally.
straight time wheel might be all we need.
Yeah.
Sounds like another committee meeting.
Yeah, that's too big. for-
Yeah, this is not even on tonight's radar, but while we were on, sort of going down an
Like it.
avenue, I at least wanted to discuss it because,
I like the proactive talk.
Yeah.
But it sounds like we got an idea, go to council with 20%.
And we're going to look at the institutional customers.
Yeah.
To find out what's what and give them
As well as the
see what the
research.
baseline is.
Research, get our facts, and then have a conversation.
And our borough manager was gonna ask our engineer what companies would be reliable for investigating, how can we locate more leaks and
Yeah, what's a name type company that has good work product
we
to
can't,
find leaks?
we can't even discuss repairs until we know what we have.
And I mean, that's gotta start off with what are we actually losing? You know what I mean? Like,
Steve knows that. Well, how many thousand gallons was it per month?
Like 30-40%.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's saying 30-40%, that's substantial. That's
And this
Well,
is
see, my
after we
concern
fixed big leaks.
My concern is you're losing it on the return. You're pumping out a lot and we're only getting this much back.
yeah.
Yeah, it's going into the
So-
ground.
But
This is
the
a
problem
good
is,
conversation
it's
to have because.
Sewer.
Was it Horseheads? It was just in the paper a few weeks ago that the SRBC is going after them because they're losing so much water, and the SRBC only gives 20% allowable loss. So if we're losing 30 to 40%, we better
The
figure.
schedule may be, but we could be in
Our
danger.
time.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's necessarily making it, I mean, so where's it gonna go? To the creek, right? The lowest point in Troy. The creek dries up, so it's not going all the way to the creek. So something tells me that that's going back into
The ground.
somewhere to the ground somewhere. which means we're just circulating it.
Right, coming back.
Or we're gonna end up with sinkholes.
Well, it may not, it may not, it won't go back to the aquifer, but it will end up with a sinkhole. And there's also a problem, DEP may want to get involved because this water has been treated now. This has got chloramine in it.
Mhm.
So that may be considered a hazard as far as they're concerned. So it's,
Yeah, that's my biggest concern, DEP coming in and with their regulations. Yeah.
but if there is a sinkhole, it's right under our road. That's not gonna be cheap.
As, I know this is a little off the cuff, but down here by the liquor store, the alley that comes out between the alley that comes
Clothing
out.
store?
Yeah, beside the clothing store.
and stuff.
Yeah. The knuckle in the road that comes every winter. I was told for years it's normal. It only happens in the winter time. It buckles or heaves. You drive down through there, there's now a 1.5 inch lip going directly across 14.
Okay.
It only happens when we start getting frost. It'll
So
disappear
that's-
in the summer.
So that's something.
Expansion of
Yeah.
water,
Right.
so there's a leak there somewhere.
There's something there. It's been there for years. I've brought it up for years and I always get told, oh, it's just the frost in the ground.
Yeah.
Well, things swell and there's water or something that's gonna expand. Now, the problem I have is I'm not well versed on where all the piping is.
No, me either.
I can talk to Nick on that, maybe we can, when we get our leak people in, that's one of the first places we want them to look, to check there. There's a couple of spots that we need.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I know it happens every year. It heaves. You can see the crack. And if you drive that way
I'm
home,
surprised PennDOT hasn't really made an issue with that.
it's gonna get to a point one of these years where the blade's gonna start.
Yeah, when they
busting the
start,
asphalt.
when they start spinning 10-wheelers around,
Okay.
maybe though, maybe they'll.
They're actually a little less proactive than we are, right?
State government, they got bigger fish than a little crack in the road, so.
They're gonna pave that, right? Isn't that in the future?
2027.
Oh, yeah, don't mill it down.
So in 2 years, I mean,
They're
that
not
might
gonna
be
dig
something
deeper.
that Nick wants to bring to their attention while the road's ground up. We
Yeah.
wanna fix that.
We wanna fix that if there's a leak there.
Okay, that's proactive, we could check on it, make sure if there is a leak in any of that surrounding area. Because like you said, it could be a leak up top on the hill that's coming down and settling right there.
Right, but it's still an awful lot of water to lift that road 1.5 inches.
Well, and our pump's not too far from there. Our pump's not too far from there, so we could have a leak at the pump house that's coming down that way. I mean, it's things that you need the experts in there to actually look at.
I think this is the most information I've ever seen on any of the budgets that I've received since I've been here,
Yep.
and that speaks volumes.
That's why it's not going anywhere.
Never forbid it ever got challenged.
My abacus is broke, I'm sorry, guys.
Is there anything else on the water?
So before you move on, did you
Yes,
guys
sir.
agree to a 20%?
We're gonna take the 20% to council,
The
yes.
council's the one that's gonna.
Right, but I mean, to put forward. Okay.
Yeah, well,
Just making sure. There was a lot of talk.
Seems that's a recommendation to council.
Yeah, it is, but.
I know, just.
We're only missing one guy from the council, so.
But either way, okay. So we're good with the 20% to take the council, of course?
Yes. To take the council on Thursday.
I think it needs to be presented.
You'll have your whiteboard with numbers?
Yeah, I'll redo the whiteboard with
It hurts a lot
20% numbers. Do you want me to do gradual numbers, or do you just want me to do the 20%?
0.016.
15 and 20 would be great.
Even though the
Do
dollar
the
amount's not
difference,
that
but
much,
do
that's
the
$6
difference
if
between
somebody's
the actual
paying that.
gallon price too.
Right, and
Well, I'll do
that's where
this is
I'm
what we
from.
have
It has to be
now.
presented.
Okay, I can do a 10% and a 20%, and then I can show, I'll put where it reduces the deficit down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna wanna have, because I can see people's heads spinning now, because they're gonna look at you and, well, this is his bill, and that's not what mine is, but they probably just paid theirs yesterday, and it was probably damn close.
Everyone pays about $100
What's
a
that?
month.
I wouldn't say it was your bill, I would just say.
I was gonna say-
This is an average bill in town.
There you go. As I said, if you want to,
Yeah.
you could use my average usage. I've got a family of 7.
There you
There's
go.
not a lot of residents in town that have
So
more
maybe
than
that's
that.
good, maybe have
That's
2.
above average.
Maybe-
6 of them are dirt mongrels.
Maybe use yours, here's an average and here's an above average,
Does that
so
mean
that
a
gives
super
people.
user?
What's that?
I mean, you need to have a super user fee?
No.
Oh, no, you'll fight me on that.
All right, so what I'll do is I'll look through, let Kim look through and find a high-end one for the month, and then we'll put, this is an average bill, this is a super, a higher-end one. And then, all right, so,
Right, so I know people are gonna ask, well, why is my bill going up? How much is it gonna go up?
Yeah.
And so if we explain that, I guarantee there's people that have never even looked at their bill.
No, and that
See
was,
what it is, they're just saying,
you'd
okay,
be
it's around
surprised, when we had that glitch where the bills were doubled, we had people come in and pay without even questioning it.
Well, when I saw that October bill,
I-
I said, I'm not going in to pay this, I'll wait for the recall.
We had people come in and pay it, and then there were probably 20 or 30, we called every one of them up and said, hey, the bill, there was a glitch in the system. What do you want to do with your money? And they all rolled it over to the next month.
Yes.
They all rolled it over to the next month, which means now they're getting a $4 and $5 bill, and so they don't even know what their average monthly usage is.
is it feasible, so I'm getting back thinking to the little old lady on Social Security. Is it feasible for us to implement some sort of a payment plan like other utilities do?
That's a lot of management.
That's the question, how much better?
To be upfront, we have not charged, since I've been here, for starting with the September billing on, we have not charged a late fee to anybody.
Okay.
All right, because the first month was my month doing it, and then after that, we started having glitches in the system. And every time, now, I'll tell you right now, the company, we just sent them back to the drawing board. They put the new software in, and it was pulling old people's names to new people's addresses. And that's the text message I said, out with all the old. I only want current customers on this new software. There's no sense keeping customers that were 20 and 30 years ago, on the system. If we need a historical data, put it in a separate component. Don't put it in with our new software. And they can't figure out why, so they pulled all their software people and they're having a meeting tomorrow. And they're trying to figure it out. Which goes to the thing I told you 2 months ago is, the current people didn't even know how the software worked when I started reporting problems.
Yeah.
And they compounded it by doing stuff. And the thing that Kim and I, we sit and talk about, it makes us look bad.
No.
And she's frustrated, and I'm frustrated, because every day something new seems to be clicking the website. We got that figured out, thank God.
All you need to do is reference one of these little things. How many times a year do you get a notification that it's updating?
Oh, yeah.
So then you think about a system that's 20 years old. How many times did it update? How many brains went through it? How many jobs have you had being a computer guy? How many jobs have you had in the last 10 years? Like,
Excuse me.
like it changes. People change, especially in this industry. And, the community's got to understand that. And there's not many people around here who don't have a smartphone. And I just comparatively speaking,
The problem
systems
is,
change.
There's,
they expect things like that to happen.
Oh,
When their water bill comes and it's good for 8-10 months at a time, and all of a sudden you throw a glitch in, the negative perception comes out.
there's very little reason to update water software. Nothing
Yeah.
fundamentally changes with it.
Shouldn't be.
We demand new features on this phone every day. I don't demand new features on the water billing. I demand we measure how much water we've sold, measure how much money we've collected, and then report a balance. That could be 30 years old and still perfectly fine.
Well, the problem was they didn't have anybody to support the program. That's why we had to go with a new one.
Right, but it's not just that, because you're, like he's saying, you're constantly adding new people when they move in, you're, changing people and addresses. I don't know how any of the
If the
software works.
Changing things
but-
before they were headed solved, that was the
If
problem.
the system never changes, you don't need employees.
Right. Who's my sewer water committee?
Not me.
Sewer and water.
That was Dave Blair and
Wayne,
Jason.
Jason.
Yeah, David Jason.
So I guess it's me and Jason now.
You and Jason, were you on the sewer one?
No, but I stepped in.
Okay.
Remember? You asked one of us to step in.
When we dismiss this, I need to talk to you guys.
When we dismiss this, I need to talk to you and you.
Just
When
remember.
we dismiss this, I need to talk to you.
I'm a half an hour.
I really didn't want to be left out, and I am so glad you did.
You make the motions at committee report, remember?
Yeah.
Alright, so, and that goes to the council meeting on Thursday. Each of the committees will have the information to report out. I'm not giving it to everybody. You have the committee, like for Tim, I've always given him the information on the personnel and he reports it out. You may not have it. For streets, I think, John,
Chairman on that.
you'll have all the updated information so that you can report out. And then for the finance, you'll have the updated, you're only going to make the motion for the approval of the general budget. The sewer and water is the one that's got to talk about the 20% increase for water and then make the motion for the approval. And I'll try to get that, so when you get your package, you'll have a little extra folder just for what committees you guys are on.
Gotcha.
So I don't have to say a damn thing, but I'm gonna.
Well, you're under protection and something else, and you can report no report.
Sidewalks and streets.
Nice.
Oh,
That's how government works, folks. That's how the council's supposed to work.
All right, so we're good here.
You're good? All right, any other business? We pretty much went through everything. Everybody good? Can I get I don't need a motion to adjourn, do I?
No.
It's a committee meeting. We done?
We're done.
We're done.